Hi there, this is David, and while I was gone on my vacation that I talked about a couple videos ago, there was a Nintendo Direct to end all Nintendo Directs. I am telling y'all, this thing was a bit ridiculous in a good way. There were a ton of great RPGs announced for it, and what I want to do here is just kind of go through the entirety of the Direct and just focus and talk about the things that I think actually you might care about, the RPGs in general. So I'm going to be going through and talking about just the things that struck my interest. Starting with this game that you see right here, which is Fire Emblem Engage. It's a strategy RPG just like all the other Fire Emblem games in the series, except here you can summon characters from previous games, heroes from previous games like Marth and Roy and all of them, to fight alongside you. Now, if you look at the main character here, he has this kind of blue and red hair, and if you've been watching my new RPG news videos, I talked about this. I totally nailed this, because about a month ago or so, there was a leak, there was a rumor out there saying that there's going to be a new Fire Emblem game, and there were screenshots from this old canceled Wii game, and the protagonist had this red and blue hair, just like that. It was kind of split. It was like really long hair though. So it looks like they're using that game, that old Wii game, as the base, and they're kind of changing it up a little bit, making it a little bit more modern, and adding in characters from the older games. It does look to be pretty cool, pretty sweet. A lot of strategy RPGs are kind of in a renaissance right now. RPGs in general, I think, are in a renaissance, and I am a-okay with that because that's really all that I play. And Fire Emblem, it used to be something that I was aware of, but something that I really didn't like all that much because of the permadeath, but it has changed exponentially lately within the last couple of years, so it has quickly actually become one of my favorite series. So I am definitely looking forward to this one. There's a normal edition and a divine edition to be released that will come with all sorts of different collectibles, one of those collector's editions and things like that, and it's coming out January 20th of next year. Next up, we have an expansion pass for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This is volume 2, and it's introducing a whole new hero who has a new job class, new costumes, new items, a new story, all that kind of stuff. I have had a blast with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I would even go so far as to say it is my game of the year. It just fulfilled everything that I was looking for in a JRPG. All of my boxes were checked. I loved this thing. It was fantastic. It is just, I've loved Xenoblade ever since the first one came out on the Wii, and I actually imported it from Europe because I was so desperate to get my hands on it, because at the time they were saying, hey, it's not going to be released in America. Now, this is an expansion pass. It is coming out October 13th, so you do have to purchase it separately. We don't know if there's going to be like a complete condition or a complete edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. There might be whenever all these expansions come out over the course of the next upcoming months. So you might want to wait on that. That's up to y'all. Personally, for me, I really enjoyed the first game, and I wouldn't mind diving right on back into it. We have Front Mission remakes. Not only are we getting a remake of Front Mission 1 and 2, which we already knew about, but we're getting a remake of Front Mission 3. So this is a strategy RPG, similar vein of Fire Emblem, that sort of stuff, although it is much more futuristic. You're going to be controlling robots, Vanzers, going through and fighting in tanks and things like that, rather than having a medieval setting of Fire Emblem. There are a lot of strategy RPGs being released nowadays, so you can afford to be picky. And personally, this is just me, I never really got into Front Mission myself because I don't really like futuristic settings. I like you know, the older settings, the medieval settings. So we have a release of November for the first game, next year for the second game, and then a to be announced in the future sometime of Front Mission 3. Unfortunately, they're all being released separately, and my thing is, I kind of think that they should be bundled together. That's just me. I think it's kind of a cash grab to say, hey, we have all these 3 games, we're going to be remastering them and re-releasing them, but it's all going to be piecemealed and separate. I feel like it should be a trilogy in a bundle, but that's just me. Now, if I wasn't really sick, I totally would have squealed with girlish glee whenever I saw this announcement, Octopath Traveler 2. This is taking place in a whole new land, a whole new world or a new continent, and a whole new era, as well as steampunk kind of era. We're now in the world of Celestia, and the first game took place in Orstera. So you don't have to know or have played the first game to understand the second game. I feel like they're taking a Dragon Quest or a Final Fantasy approach in regards to that, so you can kind of play them separately, if you know what I mean. We have all new characters, we have a day-night system, and I feel like this game is going to be what they wanted the first game to be, because the characters will actually kind of intertwine, and you're going to have dual paths, and they'll all meet up together and it'll actually, you know, make a difference. Whereas in the first game, it was just kind of like 8 separate journeys and they kind of remained separate, if you know what I mean. So I do know that the first game was divisive in that regards, but also this game was a trailblazer. It was groundbreaking. It revitalized the genre in a way that it has needed to be revitalized, and in a good way. Sometimes games revitalize the genre, like Dark Souls, in a bad way. Sometimes they revitalize them in a good way, like this one did, and I'm all about it. And yeah, I am stoked for this one. Oh, and Octopath Traveler 2 comes out on February 24th of next year. I forgot to say that, but hey, we're talking about Theater Rhythm, Final Bar Line right now. These games have been going on strong for, I don't know, a decade now or so. This is Square's answer to Dance Dance Revolution, I suppose, utilizing Final Fantasy songs. There's going to be songs not just from Final Fantasy, though. There's going to be songs from other Square Enix properties. I personally don't like or play rhythm games. That's just me, but I know that some of y'all out there do play them, you do like them, so I thought that I would bring this up. It's coming out on February 16th of next year. It's not really my jam, pardon the pun, and another thing that kind of bothered me is that they already, before it's even been released, they already have a paid DLC lined up. They already know what they're going to add in to the game, whether they haven't even released the game. You know what I mean? Like, come on, give me a break. If you already know what you want to add into the game, just put it into the game. Don't make a DLC. Like, come on. Okay, now we have Rune Factory 3 Remake. This was originally released back on the Nintendo DS back in 2011, and it's going to be coming out next year. I've never, again, been one to get into farming sims. Rune Factory is a little bit different insofar as it's much more of like an action RPG than it's an actual farming sim. So it is a little bit different in that way, but I'd still just been like, oh, I've been, you know, whatever. It's just not really my big thing. But I have played most of them, the vast majority of them, and I will say that the setting, the characters of Rune Factory 3 is probably the best. I mean, who doesn't want to live in a treehouse? Hopefully it does bring in some of the quality of life improvements from the fourth game, though, which was pretty damn sweet, if I do say so myself. Various day life. Yeah, we have more farming sims or whatever this is, so let's talk about Various Day Life and Square Enix's kind of random name generation machine that they just, I don't know. It's a turn-based RPG that was originally released on the Apple Arcade back in 2019. It's just getting ported here, and I looked at some of the reviews, because I don't have Apple Arcade, unfortunately, and the reviews not that good for the Apple Arcade version. It looks like they're just porting it on in, and they're porting it to the PC, the Switch, and the PS4. To me, it just looks like something kind of generic and boring. It might be good, it might not. If this is your jam, have at it. I personally am going to be skipping this one. Dude. Let's talk about some Atelier. A couple of weeks ago, I released a video talking about Atelier Ryza and asking, hey, has this series actually changed? I loved Iris, I loved Manichemia, and then it kind of went downhill on the PS3 with time limits and things like that. But I heard really good things about Ryza. I wanted to check it out. I did. I'm glad that I did. I liked it. I really, really, really liked it. And Ryza 2 is out there, and now there's going to be a Ryza 3 taking place in the same world, same characters. So there's 11 different characters that you can put into your party. I know that I have shit on this series in the past, and as far as I'm concerned, rightfully so. But I will give credit where credit's due. If a game changes, and it changes in a way that I like, I'll play it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just hate a series forever, you know? If a game goes and they change it and they say, hey, you know, there was some crummy things, there was crummy time limits, there was way too much crafting, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then they go and they change it to pretty much get rid of any and all time limits and making the crafting just like super simple, super easy, not like this massive roadblock that you have to deal with all the time, and make the characters likable, the world fun, bright, vivacious graphics and everything. Hey, like, I'll give a game a chance, and I'm glad that I did. The first game was great, and I am actually really very much looking forward to this sequel right here that's coming out in February 24th. Looks like a lot of these games are coming out same day as Octopath Traveler 2, though. So, I mean, if I have to choose one or the other, Octopath Traveler 2 is definitely going to win. Harvest Stella. I played the demo recently. I loved the demo. This, I want to say that they sold it as a farming sim. I felt like all the marketing said farming sim, but then you actually play it and it's like the farming is so minuscule that it really doesn't even matter. It's just a means of an end to get some money. The main core of the gameplay is exploration and action-based combat and figuring out the story and everything. Like, this was so freaking good. Various day life, give me Harvest Stella any day of the week. This is coming out full game November 4th, and I am here for it. Next up, we have Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Yeah, this is a remaster, kind of a remake, not really, of the original Crisis Core for the PSP. It has enhanced HD graphics and updated combat system. That's why I say it's not just a straight port. They're updating the combat system, hopefully to make it a little bit better. Hopefully not too pausey with the DMW. They're putting in new soundtrack arrangements. I put together a video about a month ago or so of the changes that I personally would like to see in the in this remake. There's a lot of changes that I think that need to be had in order to enjoy it. It's coming out December 13th, and it looks to be pretty sweet. I'm just gonna come out and say it here. We have Tales of Symphonia remastered, and my question is, why? It looked perfectly fine back on the GameCube whenever it first came out, and then we just got a remaster. We just got an HD remaster. We just got one! And this one here on the PS3 came bundled together with the Wii sequel. So now we're getting this for the same price point as the PS3 HD remake, but without the Wii sequel? Like, what? Why? Huh? I'm confused. Don't get me wrong, this is one of my favorite Tales games. It is a great game, but why are you going to remaster it when we just got a remaster? If you want to go back and revisit Symphonia, why don't you remake it? You know, remake the combat system so it's less clunky. Or why don't you maybe remaster something that really needs it? Maybe release like a Zillia collection. That'd be cool. Maybe remake Zestiria into a good game. Maybe take the Triverse games, Hearts and Innocence and Tempest, and bundle those together and release those. There's so many things that they could do with the Tales series, but they just keep on, you know, milking this one. Granted, it's a great game, I get it, but, you know, I'm just thinking, you know, there's so many different things that they could do that I'm not exactly excited about it. I know that it's always good to let other people play these games, and I'm happy for them, but I just feel like it's a wasted potential, I guess. So there's a couple of other things that I want to talk about. Mostly that Romancing Saga Minstrel Song Remastered is coming out December 1st as well. There was like a little snippet in there about that. But anyway, that's it for me. That's it for the Nintendo Direct. There was a lot of really cool announcements. What did y'all like the best? What are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments, and as always, have a good day.